Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the theme song. Do it for Deuce and Mo.
We are live!
Hey, do it for
Woo.
Deuce and Mo.
After a fun drive back from San Francisco in the stormy-ass Northern California, we are here to talk some Kings basketball on a Wednesday night. How we doing, Night Chats?
What up, Deuce?
Hey.
Hey, Morgan.
Hello.
Appreciate you guys for being here.
I'm rooting for y'all.
Yes.
Let's go, King.
Oh, the win streak is all over.
Deuce and Mo.
So annoying.
I don't get the lack of energy again. Everything okay with Monk? He's usually the spark plug. The chat is feeling it already tonight. Just checking in. Appreciate you guys for being in the chat, especially because we're starting this a little. Okay, I don't know if you hear that. Bojack Carlin in the background trying to play. Carlin, the paralyzed pup. No, it's partially paralyzed. The back legs. They try to play now. He can't play right now. You know? Bojack's just like, hey, let's go. I want to rock and chase you around. You can't do it at this point. Man. Anyway, as Morgan tries to corral that, I'll take a moment to say what's up to you guys. Appreciate you guys being here, win or loss. Carlin, let's welcome Carlin to the show. Hey, Carlin, how you doing, man?
He's like, yo, you guys, I know I got 2 legs, but I really want to play with my brother. He is wanting to play with me, and it feels like we should be playing with each other.
He's got some dog in him. He's got some dog. Carlin, paralyzed legs in the back. He's like, I still want to play. I still want to get after it. I still want to go at Bojack. Anyway, yeah, so appreciate you guys being here. I'm checking out. Jake's here. What's up, Douglas?
Hi, guys.
Josiah. Tony's in the building. What's up, everybody? What's up, Ruckus? Thank you guys all for being here. Sydney in the house as always. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot to discuss with this game tonight. Man, I knew it was going to be a tough one. I
know. It was just kind of a weird night.
What was the weirdest part about the night?
Honestly, driving back in that storm was just a little scary for me.
Yeah.
That was a little scary. So then it's like, I'm like, you know, talking about this game, but then having to stay focused for the last 90 minutes on a steering wheel and like dumping rain, which was, I mean, it's fine. Like it comes with the territory, but sometimes when I get that time away from a game, it takes me away from like, well, what was I instantly feeling? And even with this one, I don't even know what the shit I was instantly feeling, honestly.
It felt like a winnable game. That was my instant reaction. Right away, I was like, that was a winnable game. You know, it's not like a disrespect to Miami or anything. Like I knew Miami was going to come out and play, dude. There was just too much. When I was reading some of the stuff from Miami, I'm like, before the game, I'm like, oh, this is going to be... The Kings could not have played Miami at a worst possible time. They had like this huge come to Jesus moment, talking about everything. Anyway. Hey, Adam says it could be worse. Dame got beat by the Portland Trail Blazers, his whole team. Also, coolest moment of the night in the NBA. The fact that Blazers fans gave him like a minute standing ovation. And if you're a Blazers fan, tonight it could not have gone better. You get to welcome back your hero, standing ovation, minute long, and then you beat him. Oh, God, that feels good.
That's the
Feels like
best.
revenge, right?
Yeah,
I didn't
no.
have to see the box score to know that was awesome. How'd our guy Scoot do? They won 119 to 116.
Oh.
Scoot Henderson, 15 points. DeAndre Ayton with 20 and 11. Simons with 24. Dame, how'd he do in his return? 25 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, 9 of 23, shooting 3 of 13 from downtown.
Wow.
Well, I guess the doctor's not saving him, huh? Doc? Rivers?
Got it.
Thank you.
I was like, is there a medical problem that I missed?
yeah.
Like, what's happening? Wait, has Doc coached a game?
Yeah.
Where am I?
I don't know where you are.
How many games has he coached?
This is his second
Oh,
one.
he started. Oh, yeah. Monday or
Against
something.
Denver.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Shout out to Keegan Murray Watch, who is still a member. 9 straight months saying Keegan Year 3 All-Star market. I will mark it. I'm going to mark that actually on this.
Oh.
131 Keegan Murray Watch says All-Star Year 3.
I like it.
We'll remember that forever.
Never forget that at all.
Jake says, I mean, the Kings got blown out by the Blazers, so we can't say anything. All right, Jake, dude. Sometimes I wonder about you.
Why?
Because he's just always just like, this guy ducks because he lied to this. We can't say any. Yeah, we can still acknowledge, hey, how about those Blazers for getting a win against the Bucks? We can still acknowledge that and still acknowledge that the Kings lost to them wasn't good either.
Also,
Like, I don't.
Excited to talk about what Eric Spoelstra had to say about the NBA.
Yep.
So,
all right, let's have some fun tonight. As much fun as we can. We're also going to be streaming live tomorrow. Live tomorrow around 4 p.m. Pacific time-ish. We will be listening to TNT's announcement of the NBA All-Star Reserves and reacting to what it is. What goes down.
Wait.
All right, Deuce and Mo, we're coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast, recording this late on a Wednesday night after the Sacramento Kings 4-game win streak is all over a place they have not won many times since arriving in Sacramento. The Kings lose in Miami, who ended a 7-game losing skid with a win against the Kings 116 to 106. Sacramento now 5-31 all-time against the Miami Heat since they entered the NBA back in that 88-89 season. Wow. There's a lot to go over. There's some highs, there's some lows, there's some ugly in there as well. Each and every one of our podcasts presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. Check out trustnorthwest.com. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. How you doing, Mo?
Fine.
You know how you say that? It's like, I already know. We spent the entire day together. We drove to San
Dude.
Francisco, did TV together. We watched the game together. We drove back together. Now we're doing this together. It's honestly a little too much for me.
Okay,
Because a
I'm
lot of
glad you're
times it's
feeling
like, I'm off doing something else. You're doing TV. And then we kind of reconnect for the
And
first
we
time on the
haven't
pod.
talked about it,
No.
except a few texts. Yeah.
And now I'm like, I'm kind of sick. I don't really care how you doing. I'm kind of over you. I'm over this game. I'm over you.
I thought about that on the way back here in the pouring rain. I remember thinking, God, we've literally been together today since 10:30. And I mean, like in working, or driving to work or whatever. And now we're here and it's fine. I'm not going to lie to you. I would have been like, this is fun if the Kings had won. Like this conversation wouldn't even have come up. But now it's like, what a drag. Because like someone put it like heated and defeated or something. I'm like, yeah, great way to put it.
Here's the one thing. As confident as I was about the Kings beating the Grizzlies last night is how not confident I was headed into this one.
True.
It just seemed like this was the worst possible time to face the Miami Heat. And with all that said, it was a winnable game for the Kings. You start thinking about all the possibilities. Oh, man, if they do this or they do this better, they could probably have found a way to hand Miami its 8th straight loss. But Miami they came out and reading the stuff from Tuesday, they had a real honest like film session. It was described as like brutally honest with each other. There was talk about effort. Spoelstra was asked by reporters like, what adjustments? And he's like, it's about emotional toughness, physical toughness, schematics, like 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
Schematics doesn't matter. We didn't even focus on scheme. We are focused on us, effort, toughness. They need to fuel us. And I went, oh, shit. The defending Eastern Conference champs. Jimmy's going to come out aggressive, and it's going to be a tough one. The Kings are going to have to take a punch. And the Kings did take some punches in this one, but it comes down to this, Morgan.
Oh.
If Fox is going to have a night like this where he's 4 of 16 and 1 of 8 from 3, if the bench is going to be a non-factor, Malik Monk, I don't need you to score 20, but when you give me 6 points and 0 assists, and then on the other side, Jimmy does his thing, Hero and Rozier were money as playmakers tonight, and then Richardson comes off the bench and drops 24, Woo! You're going to lose. It's 115-106 the final.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. In post-game, we put down some notes of why they lost. And that was the easiest way to summarize it. Now, there was other moments throughout this game, and even Mike Brown was asked about, for example, the offense and their shooting. And Miami, when they were putting that backcourt pressure on, it was like, okay, this is tough. This is slowing them down. But then it would lead to only having 12 seconds in that half-court offense. So right there, they're already going scramble mode. Okay, we have to get something off. Our offense is disrupted. We don't get a run all the way through our actions. Oh, and then Miami throws this zone at them. And the zone always messes up some teams a few plays, but I felt like the Kings weren't willing to make quick adjustments. And then you always hear this, Deuce. You always go, hey, this Kings team, good shooters on this team. If they're going to have an open shot, I want them to shoot it. They need to just keep shooting, shoot. I get all of that. But I've been watching basketball for a really long time. I played basketball all my life. And I think as a player, as someone even that coached basketball, it's like you get it when there comes a time that you have to get in the paint and score. You have to see that ball go through the net. You have to just break down a defense in a different way than keep on chucking up shots just because you're a good three-point shooting team. Because sometimes you're just not going to have those nights. And tonight, it wasn't that night for the Kings.
I think your point about Miami's defense is interesting because I was watching their game against Phoenix, and they did the same thing. They were putting full court pressure on the Suns, and then once it was cross half court and into the offense, they went into their zone defense. In that zone defense, Miami runs a lot of zone defense. They run more than any other team in the league. And what's been problematic for them over the last few games before tonight, the communication wasn't there. I think part of it, Rozier trying to get used to playing in this new scheme, trying to get used to the zone, just trying to get used to the defense, the offense, playing with Hero. You know, he's not just chucking. You got to play within the system. And there were so many just breakdowns from a communication standpoint, poor rotations. And tonight, dude, this team was locked in. The full court pressure was good. It impacted the Kings. And even when the Kings played with pace, I felt like they weren't playing with pace the right way. And what I mean by that is, I want you to get the ball up as fast as you can and try to break that. But even when you get into the offense, you don't have to take the first shot. And to your point about the three-point shooting, I felt like they were coming down and just jacking up threes. When they were clicking tonight and when they got back in the game in the second quarter after being down 15, Sabonis was taking the ball, pushing it. They were getting paint touches. They were getting the ball moving, finding the cutters and gaps, hitting the three. Like, it looked good, but there were too many times I felt like the zone was impacting Sacramento.
It was. And I was so used to watching a team last year. And this was, I think I said this to you in so many games last year. Deuce, not only does this team make adjustments game by game, like they could play the same team twice and they'll make adjustments. They were getting better and better at making in-game adjustments. And that is so hard to do. And only the better teams in this league are capable of doing that because you're able to understand basketball at a high level as a player and understand how to actually make that tweak physically or mentally sometimes. And with this Kings team, when that when that defense, that zone defense is thrown at them sometimes, I go, okay, you got scrambled up, but now how do you break it? Now how do you get better? And we saw those better moments, but I just felt like it wasn't quick enough.
Yeah, I did feel like they figured it out when they
did.
made that run at the end of the second, when they cut it to 4.5.
Yeah.
That's what I loved. I'm like, all right, you guys got down 14, 15 points. I was worried. Or did they get down as many as 18, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got down by 18, and they cut it to 4 at the half, and it was because they started to do those things where Sabonis was doing a hell of it. Sabonis had an amazing game again tonight. Guy had his 13th triple-double of the season, and he had 14 all of last year. On the night, what he finished with 19 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, 7 of 14 shooting, and that was missing some easy ones early. He didn't score in the first quarter.
Yeah.
He was outrageous. But when the Kings got back into it, he was getting a rebound, and that guy was pushing. I thought at times tonight, even the Kings defense had some really good moments, and that's where it's at. It's like, oh, wow, they're able to have some great contests at the rim, really rotating well defensively, playing the gaps well, making sure to stunt, use their length. The stat of the night.
Oh, you have a stat of the night?
The Kings in the first half had 11 deflections. The activity was there. It wasn't perfect all the time, but the activity was there. 11 deflections. That's a great number. They had 3 in the entire second half. 3.
Yeah.
And that's where the game shifted. It's like I felt like they did a better job against the zone later in the first half, but that second half came and it felt like the defense became problematic. And that's just put you in a really tough position when you were locked in, had some good activity, rotations were looking good, then you're getting blown by.
You got to be locked in. I mean, way to say the obvious, Morgan. You got to be locked in all 4 quarters, right? I mean, it's easier said than done. But the only reason why now I ever say it, and I say it confidently, like this team can do that, is because we saw it last year. But then what you see a lot, and again, I get whenever we compare this year's team to last year's team, it's not the exact same. Things have changed. Depth, like players have gotten better. Some players have dropped off. That stuff happens. But what I would have expected to stay consistent would be like mental toughness, effort, discipline, like all the controllables. And I feel like a lot of the controllables are also things that have taken a dip, whether it's an in-game adjustment, whether it's not even that I'm questioning everyone's effort. I'm just confused at times why there's a first half where the defense is looking so much better than the second. And I'm not here to give Miami Heat a whole bunch of credit for the way that they were playing offense. But I will say this, Jimmy Butler attacking the way that he was attacking did screw with them even more and did open up more things. So sure, I'll give some love to that. But I still thought that they could have done a better job defensively, even with that happening.
I felt like I was just chalking up Jimmy for a big night. It was about how are you going to handle the others? But you're right. Jimmy set the tone for them. He was super aggressive. He was trying to get guys in foul trouble, whoever was on him. HB was on him. Okay, that was going to be problematic. Keegan got switched on him. And Jimmy, guy's just such a foul merchant. That guy is always trying to get foul calls. Love him because he plays with an edge and toughness. I'm not hating on the guy, but God, it's frustrating. He had 31 points, super efficient, 10 of 14 shooting, 9 of 12 at the free throw line. He also had 7 rebounds and 6 assists in this game. He was a problem, and he really got it going in that third quarter. That's where I felt like a lot of defensive breakdowns happened, and Jimmy got his. And then you're like, okay, now it's more of a gap. It's going to be a challenge. The other thing that was big for them tonight, look, Hero and Rozier combined for 17. On the surface, you're like, you'll take that. Rozier's 1 of 8. The problem is they had 18 assists and just 3 turnovers. Those two.
I was like, wait.
18 assists and 3 turnovers between those two. Hero was making good decisions. The pick and roll was problematic. Bam had an impact. And then off the bench, Josh Richardson, 24 points, 9 of 15 shooting, 6 of 10 from 3. There are a couple of times the Kings went under on screens with him, and I'm like, well, I don't care if he's been struggling this year. I go track record of his career.
Yep.
The guy can knock down threes, and you can't give him looks. All of a sudden, he's knocking down shots. He's playing with confidence. He plays a little bit of an edge. And when that bench outscored Sacramento, what was it, 47 to something?
Do you want me to get it?
I thought I was on the box score.
It's okay.
Man.
It is. Wait, bench points?
Yeah.
47-18.
47-18 Miami.
Yep.
So you can handle Jimmy having a good night. You can't handle Josh Richardson dropping 24 on
Off
you
the bench.
and efficiently.
Yes. And that's what's and you know,
I thought their bench played well when they came in there and they went the zone. Kevin Love too had some really nice moments.
he absolutely did. And I thought too with Richardson knocking down 24, that was the other thing I was going to say, was Keegan talked a little bit about him and his game, and it was like, look, he's a streaky shooter in this league, but when he gets one going and he's on fire, then it doesn't stop. And that's where it's like, shit, we might have not game planned for that, but how can we adjust in game again? How can we make sure that we are understanding that just because we game plan for a certain type of personnel and a certain type of shooter that night, that it might have changed. So let's make sure to fight over screens. Let's navigate them differently. Let's just change up a few things. That didn't feel like it was being changed. I thought they did a good job every time that they were running back after some of these runs, like especially that 13-0 run in the second quarter when the Kings got it within 4, I believe, going into the half. And I thought they did a really good job of being resilient and trying to match the Miami Heat's tone and energy. And that was one of my biggest worries coming in tonight. And Deuce, you already touched on it. They were going to come out punching. They were going to come out with a different type of energy. And you and I said it on the pregame show. We said, okay, if you're the Kings, don't just match their tone, set the tone, and then have them match it.
Yeah, and I thought they had some of those moments earlier, like I talked about defensive, like the Kings competed, you know, and I think what ended up killing them tonight is just poor shooting too. You know, we talked about the zone forcing some bad shots, but then like, look, De'Aaron going 4 of 16, 1 of 8 from 3. And he's been such a good 3-point shooter. We'll talk more about his 3-point success this year, but he had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers in 36 minutes. I on these nights, I'm like, man, I need you to attack a little more. And that's where I start questioning just a little bit more of, all right, are you good with attacking? I know this was challenging to attack this Miami defense too, with some of the, you know, how they're defending the Kings at times. But I just, that's where I keep going back to, man, he's got to be dinged up a little bit if he has these games where he relies on the 3-point shot. And maybe he's just like, no, you know what? Live with it, because I'm shooting 39% this year. I take 8 a game, and most nights they're going to go down efficiently. So this was a night they didn't go down, and now you guys want to break it down like I'm some bad shooter or something. It's like, it's not that. I just know he's got the ability, and he showed the last few games of like
pure dominance.
Be effective at all 3 levels, in the mid-range, play with pace.
But pure dominance in the mid-range and in the paint usually. And that's where I understand. I understand the mindset, but I also understand the mindset. I understand the mindset of like Kings fans and people even analyzing the game, wanting that. I get that. That makes a lot of sense, right? But you gotta also try to put yourself in his shoes, and you have to think about what his mentality is. And his mentality is, I'm a 39% 3-point shooter. I can shoot the shit out of the ball. I have, and I'm off a little bit. Doesn't mean you go away from it. It means that you keep trying to experience it, get better, get better, get better. And it sucks when it leans into an L, obviously on the record, but when it's a bad shooting night from Fox and it's a W, you can maybe live with it a little bit more, being like, okay, what's he trying to do? What can he adjust? What can he learn from that?
And I think on that, like, I get it. You want to remain confident, but like, put the ball on the floor. When De'Aaron Fox is putting pressure on the defense and showing to be a threat in the mid-range where he could stop and pop or take it to the rack.
Oh my God.
Even if he's not attempting it, it's, hey, maybe he's putting enough pressure on the defense to collapse it and spraying out for 3. And then the ball is rotating. Miami's working harder defensively. Maybe you're attacking and you're getting Bam into greater foul trouble. He had some foul trouble early in this game. So it's just trying to pick your spots a little better in these moments and understanding like, hey, the 3 may not be falling tonight. I definitely want to keep shooting it. I'm not going to like all of a sudden just go away from it, but we need a bucket here. Can I just get a bucket?
And I think that I like that. I like the mental shift, and we saw that in a few of these wins too, where we're like, damn, well, he had a really good fourth quarter. You know, he wasn't playing well here, but then he had a good fourth quarter. Oh, wow, this was a great all-around game. And I think that shift he needs to make mentally is exactly that. Is like my team needs a bucket, and that bucket needs to be what I'm best at, not what I'm getting pretty good at, which is his 3-point shooting, 39% on the year. But what I'm great at and what I know that I can get something, whether it's get to the free throw line and or make a mid-range shot or get all the way to the rim.
The Kings ended up taking the lead in the third quarter. Then Miami got it back, did a really good job of trying to put this one away. They ended up taking a 10-point lead with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Kings cut the gap to 90-84 at the end of the third quarter. Fourth quarter, that's when the Heat really got it going, and it just felt like they kind of sucked the life out of the Kings. They did such a great job. We mentioned Hero and Rozier with 18 assists. They finished as a team with 38 assists on 42 makes. The Kings pick and roll coverage at times wasn't good. I mean, we did like a film breakdown and post game on TV, and
there was a lot of good.
It was showing the early first quarter stuff, and I'm like, man,
that was great.
This Kings defense is on a string. Like they're
hands
getting big,
up.
hands up. I mentioned the deflection number in the first half. They were contesting. I thought Sabonis had some incredible contests at the rim, staying vertical. Huerter had some really nice defensive moments, but they're not able to string it together. And the bench let them down tonight too. You know, I felt like Monk is a guy we got to talk about because he's been so good this year. He's in a stretch where he's in a funk.
Yeah.
And I understand you're going to miss shots. I feel like right now he's pressing. He's pressing a little bit, and when he's coming in there, it's forcing some things. Too many turnovers for him. I want to look at his. I think he ended up with 3 turnovers. He did that in 14 minutes. Okay, so he was 3 of 8 in 14 minutes, had 6.0 assists, 3 turnovers. You can't be having those type of mistakes. You know, Mike Brown's talked about this before, but when Malik has 2 or 3 in a game when he plays 25. You know,
and
close
good
to 30 minutes
basketball.
and good basketball, but he also has like 10 assists.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You can live with it. You can't live with it here. You can't live with it against this Miami Heat team. The Kings only had 9 turnovers as a team, but I felt like Malik's, it didn't feel good, and I felt like his shot selection wasn't great either. He had some defensive breakdowns.
Yes.
He really hurt them tonight.
He's got to let the game come to him.
Yep.
And not forcing things. I get it. It's sometimes hard, especially when you want to step up for your team, especially when you're coming off the bench. Which, by the way, I know with Sasha out, it still feels like some of these rotations are a little weird. And just a quick note, JaVale McGee I liked what he did in his time out there. He played a lot more under control. But yeah, Malik Monk is usually the leader of that second unit and is the guy that's like, all right, doesn't even take a dip from the first unit to the second unit because Malik Monk, it could be a starter in this, in this league. And you're just not seeing that right now. I'm not worried about it. Mr. First Team, all confidence, like it will come back and these slumps happen in the year. I just feel like what we've seen though, we talked about this on the way back. We have not seen this Kings team, it feels like, have a couple consistent complete games where it's like good team basketball, good team basketball, good team basketball.
Yeah, like everyone's playing well.
Yes.
Think about this Kings season. They're sitting at 27-19. They're still in a good spot. Like this win, I mean, losing sucks. Every game is, I hate losing, blah, 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 blah. We get it. But you had the start of the year where Keegan and Huerter start off ice cold. Keegan kind of got out of it, and then Huerter was just kept being bad for like 30 games. You know, Harrison Barnes had that one opener against Utah, and then very inconsistent. And you're like, okay, it seems like it's just Fox, Sabonis, and Monk, a little bit of Keegan. And then Keegan woke up out of it. Like, oh, cool, Fox, Sabonis, Keegan, Monk, they're playing well. Can anyone else play well? And you weren't getting much else from anyone else. And then Fox dips. Then Monk dips. Huerter comes out. Sabonis stays up. Keegan a little up and down, but more up now. And it's like,
Barnes, like special epic games, and then it's like, where'd you go?
Harrison Barnes had like 3-4 games in a row. Oh, there he is contributing. And then tonight he had 9 points, 5 rebounds. He missed some shots, a lot of shots. He was 4-13, 0 for 6 from 3. So all of a sudden his last 2 games, he's 2 for 16 from 3. And I'm like, I'm not ignorant. Like, it's hard to have everyone clicking, but it seems
Absolutely.
It's not even like, oh, they're playing kind of good. It's like, it's either you've got a few guys playing awesome, or everyone else playing like terrible. Like, where's the balance? Can we just have a little balance?
And it doesn't feel like, you know, because then I go, okay, I question that balance. And I go, is it something that Mike Brown's doing in his rotations? Or is it because people feel a certain way with their confidence or being on a shorter leash or whatever it is? I don't feel like it's been that. I feel like, if anything, it was a little bit of health in the beginning of the year. And then it was a little bit of confidence. And then it was, you know, maybe a little bit of confidence from the rotations as well. Like, all those things have been factoring in, but it's how are they going to face adversity? And I would say, for the amount of adversity that has come along, looking at their record, it's still pretty good.
Yes.
Right? Like, you're not going to sit here today and be like, oh, what a shit season so far, because when they hit adversity, it just hasn't been pretty. No, like, it's still been able to translate into more wins than losses within their record this year so far. And it's a very, very difficult conference. So I'm still very optimistic. I'm just curious how they're going to react to some of the adversity, even going forward in the second half of this season.
Oos in the chat says, I think the only time we have seen the team play complete was in 2 losses. Once against the Suns when they were up 23, and then the Bucks loss. Like, yeah, those were 2 of the better examples of that. And today it was just like the shot. I mean, they shoot 44%, 12 of 40 from 3 in this game. 12 of 18 at the free throw line. Then on the other side, Miami 50%. They were 13 of 28 from 3, and they were 18 of 23 at the free throw line. You know? So there's definitely some good we got to talk about too. You know, it's just a bummer. This month has just been up and down. We reached the end of January, and the Kings finished the month 8-7. So as average as it gets, a lot of disappointing losses in there, and you're looking at that 8-7 and going, wow. You win those Bucks Suns games right there. You're up to 10-5, and that feels a lot different.
Just does. Okay, before we get to the good, so it can't skew your emotions and everything and make you feel one way or feel like a prisoner of the moment. End of January, literally the longest month ever. End of January. How are you feeling about the Kings right now? End of January.
I feel better now than I did 2.5 weeks ago.
Okay.
I think there are better moments. You know, next week's going to tell us a lot, you know, just kind of where this team is trying to go. And I say next week because most people understand that next Thursday, is the NBA trade deadline, and to see what tweaks, if any, are made. Because I think it's going to tell you a lot about where they go. I think this team is good enough to make the playoffs, just as is. But to win a series, I think they need a little tweak. They need a little jolt. It doesn't have to be a monster rip. It doesn't have to be some big swing. And to be honest, I don't think the big swing's out there at this point. We've seen Grant get moved.
I know.
Grant, excuse me.
Pascal Siakam.
Pascal Siakam. I'm thinking about Jeremy
Why
Grant.
did I go there too?
We see OG get moved. I don't know what the big swing is, and they may not have to make one. They can make a subtle tweak that helps them. I've said this. I'm going to be consistent on this. It doesn't have to be some monster swing, but I think it needs to be more impactful than trading for Kessler Edwards last year.
Absolutely. And I hope that later on, too, after we talk about some of this good, that maybe we can bring up what Bobby Marks had to say, too.
Yeah. Someone in the chat, by the way, just said that the score is wrong on the screen. And, that's one of my pet peeves.
Oh,
it is wrong.
Shit. Deuce Mason.
It's this final score was 115 to 106.
Why didn't any of you say that sooner? How dare you?
Yeah, you casuals
not
paying attention.
What, you didn't know that was a score?
Yeah, can you guys have my back for once? Now I got to tweak it midstream.
Let's not accept accountability and blame everybody
this is on you guys. You guys have to step up and be better. It's not about me at this point.
Oh, dear God.
Salad Bar says, did we talk about the Deuce hot mic issue? I don't know what you mean by that. You're going to have to let me know. Is there a hot mic issue today?
He's probably talking about what did you say?
I'm sick of the Pacers?
Or something, yeah.
I knew my mic
Is that
was
what
on.
you said? Yeah.
I
looked at Deuce too. I was like, you said that. And he's like, yeah, I said it into the mic. I was like, oh, got it. That was his bit.
Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to let me know what I said if there was something else.
No, I think that was it.
Anyway, yeah, in terms of how I'm feeling at the end of the month, it wasn't that fun of a month, but I go, well, they're 27-19. They're still in a good spot. They've had some much better moments. I think my big concern remains the same concern I've had. In their wins, they're averaging 125 points a game. In their losses, they're averaging 108 points a game. That 125.2 in wins is 6th in the NBA. In losses, that 108 is 22nd. It's like if the shots don't fall, good luck. If you're not scoring, good luck. And I don't want, that's why I like that Memphis game in a way. It was ugly. It was hideous. Memphis was shorthanded, but I'm like, all right, you got to grind that one out. And you didn't score 120 to do it, but it feels like when they lose, it's pretty ugly. Even offensively, it's like they miss shots and they can't find other ways to win. So it goes back to the larger thing. It's like, can they get more consistency from guys? The shot making just doesn't seem like it's as consistent as it was last year.
Agreed.
How do you feel at the end of January? Where are you at?
I feel fine. I don't feel as like, I don't want it to sound negative. I don't feel as joyful as I did obviously last year. And I think sometimes I need to stop comparing to last year, because what we have to remember is that the come up and the joy of just finally being there was great. But it did feel like great team basketball was being played almost every single night. Like even in losses, it still felt like it was. And by the way, there were still good things in this game, but it just felt like a different type of good last year. I don't know. And maybe my emotions.
It's all perspective too.
Exactly.
Spoelstra had some interesting things to say after the game. And one of the things he was just talking about is, he's like, I think we are the only team in the league to have a 7-game winning streak and a 7-game losing streak. And he's like, there's so much parity in the league right now, and winning in this league is hard. You can't take it for granted. I was like, preach. Yes, exactly. And they had to do some reflecting. Miami's a good team, and they faced a tremendous amount of adversity. They had to dig themselves out of it and find a way to win. We always, after these, we like to pinpoint everything that the Kings did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. They did a lot of things wrong. Sure, we can talk about that. But Miami came out, man, and you felt them. It takes effort to pick up full court, and it takes even more effort to retreat from that full court pressure, go into a zone, and everyone be bought into the zone and rotating perfectly. They were on a string, and they were disciplined at times. The 50-50 balls, they all went to Miami. They played really tough, made some great shots, and then they got in a good rhythm, and the Kings defense collapsed.
Jimmy Butler even said after the game too, he said, when we're in a zone as an individual, I am not my best as a defender. I'm not best in a zone. But as a team, they can always make me better, and I always find a way. And that's exactly what you saw them do. They understood what they needed to do. They played desperate. They played with no fear, and they followed their leaders. Yeah. And on top of that too, funny note that I just feel like I wanted to get in there so bad. We went down to 2 refs in that game too. One ref.
Oh
got
my
injured.
God. Yeah, I heard Katie and Kyle mention in the fourth quarter, like, oh, something we didn't mention at halftime. One of the refs got hurt in this game.
Not funny. I'm not laughing at that. I'm just like,
Dedrick Taylor got hurt in the game. So we had 2 officials the rest of the way. In the playoffs, when that happens, they have an alternate official. Literally, they have a guy that sits in the back and takes notes and on the game. But if he gets called, he or she gets called, it's like, get in there. This guy gets,
yeah.
There's an injury.
So just an interesting note.
Yeah.
It's
weird.
Tonight, but
that's tough too.
It is. So no, and I thought overall though, like the game, I never felt like it was, oh, refs were doing one thing or this was happening this way or this is nope. Miami was coming out strong, desperate, really wanting this win. Kings, they could have had it if they really wanted it. It just felt like that pure focus didn't come into play when they needed it most in that second half.
We got to get to the good because there was some good tonight, but we should mention that tonight's podcast presented by our friends over at Northwest Exteriors. You're looking for windows. There's one place to go.
Yeah, there is.
Why would you go anywhere else? We've been telling you all season. If you're thinking about new windows, you go to Northwest Exteriors. They're local. They don't subcontract. They've got an awesome showroom in Rancho Cordova. You could check out all the different options and talk to their staff. Everyone's been there literally forever. They're super passionate about it. They come to your house to look at your windows. They'll measure things. And then you go, wow, this is going to be awesome because my house is going to look better. I'm going to save money. I'm going to increase the value of my home. What am I waiting for? So you got to go to Northwest Exteriors.
My sister loved these windows so much here that now she is becoming a Northwest Exteriors window person on her home. So it's exciting to see more and more people actually understand like what they can do. So make sure you get a free quote today.
You know why? Simply the best. Trust Northwest. Appreciate everyone's support of the Deuce and Mo podcast. What?
Every time. You
want to know why? I got a little distracted by a chat.
With what?
Because like David, appreciate you, David. He was trying to promote something else. And it's like, yeah, you know what? I'll play it again for you. You know why? Because you need to simply the best. I messed that up too. I messed it up twice. And Morgan had to point it out. You want to mention it again? Huh?
Why would you even give a shit about that?
Morgan, I like to engage with the chat. I pick out chat so people know we're interacting.
But if I saw that with
did?
David, yeah.
It distracted me for a second.
I see.
It happens.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was just more like, 1, weird that David would even put that in there. Yeah. But 2, it is just like, yeah, I just didn't care. But I get it.
Let's talk about the good from tonight.
Please.
There was some good. Let's start with Keegan Murray. How have we been on for like a half hour and we have not talked about Keegan Murray? What a bounce back. Last game against Memphis, he had 5 points, 4 turnovers.
Ugh.
He did not look like himself.
No, he did not.
He didn't look good. He only played 25 minutes. Tonight, he came out, did a great job defending Tyler Hero early on. He had to switch on to Jimmy Butler at times. But most importantly, he was the guy offensively that was knocking down shots early for Sacramento. He finished with 33 points. He had 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. He did it on 12 of 18 shooting. He was 7 of 11 from 3. The Kings only hit 12. They hit 12 threes. He hit 7 of them.
Crazy. Well, crazy needed. And in that first half, he had 21 points, tying a season high first half. So he was their offense. Obviously, we already mentioned this too. Domas was scoreless in that first quarter, finally added 9 in that second quarter. So I felt like when Domas started really getting things going too, it helped it allowed Keegan to be a little bit more open from beyond the arc. It allowed Keegan to get a little bit more confident because he had another guy that was a threat out there. And so, yeah, Keegan looked confident. He looked good. I loved seeing what he was doing in the mid-range. I even said to you when he like curled around a body and just like little jump shot midi, I was like, that shot was completely different than the other shot the other night.
Yeah.
Completely different.
He had one where he got the ball in the corner, pump fake, drove, and dunked. That was pretty sweet, too. I just felt like he had a nice bounce back after a really rough outing against Memphis. And I was curious how he's going to respond against this Miami team because they can play physical, right? And they throw a whole bunch of different things at you. He didn't seem like he was rattled. My one critique would be, can we get him more looks in the second half, especially when he gets it going? But overall, I thought Keegan was really good tonight. 33 points for him. Do you think he deserves the Rock and Soul Player of the Game? You could mention Sabonis too, but we give it to Keegan Murray. 33 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks. We mentioned the 12 of 18 shooting, 7-11 from 3. Our Rock and Soul Player of the Game.
This is how you know it's not one of those terrible losses because you didn't give it to an opponent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and and you know what? We acknowledge the bounce back.
Yeah.
He had a rough game. It was not pretty against Memphis, and I thought he did everything from knocking down threes, putting the ball on the floor, playing good defense.
Yep.
He did a lot out there. A Rock and Soul Player of the Game. Check out Rock and Soul in Sacramento, just 6 blocks from Golden One Center. They are the best. These are the games with Keegan too, where I'm like, he's doing the right things out there. Mm-hmm. He's talking about what we've been talking about. I was like, hey, don't just rely on the 3. Pump fake, get the mid range, pump fake, drive, go dunk, make the right plays, hit some shots, don't be rattled, play with some force. I really liked his game, and it's why you get excited about him long term. You know, I know we got Keegan Murray watch in the chat, the big fan of his, saying he could be an all-star in year 3. I don't know. But what I do know is I am super high on his ability to be an all-star because I've seen the flashes here in year 2. He's taken such great strides defensively as we've chronicled throughout the season. But when you see outings like this offensively, you start to really think that ceiling is even higher than maybe we even realize.
Well, I mean, even talking about that, it's not just us. It's not just us covering the Kings, watching them all the time. You know, we were talking earlier about the trade deadline and how Bobby Marks had made some comments about the Sacramento Kings. And every time he talks about what the Kings can do when it comes to contracts, all these different things, and being smart about what type of moves you make, he goes, listen, Keegan's going to be, you know, max contract guy. Like, you're going to end up paying, assuming that he is, and it seems like he is going in that direction. Like, that is what the Kings think their future is. That is what a lot of people around the NBA see and understand why the Kings would go in that direction with their future. And I think more and more people are starting to notice that. But it's funny, when you do have a quieter, like, composed future star-like player, they fly under the radar a little bit more because it's just, I don't know, there's just something about it that just doesn't pop out to people, and that's fine. Just sleep on it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think it's a big reason why the Kings feel like they don't have to take a ginormous swing here, because if you are and you're trying to get the mega star, I don't even know who's out there. They're going to ask for Keegan. You know, it's just like the OG trade. It's like Masai's going, can we have Keegan Murray? No, because you're believing that this guy at 6'8", 6'9", with what he has shown you offensively, now what he's showing you defensively, can be that guy. He's on a rookie scale contract. Then you give him a rookie extension. Like, these are the things you want to do, is you want to nail the draft and keep these guys around, develop them. He's exactly the type of player that you want on your team long term, and where the NBA is going. I mean, I think he is going to be a special talent in the league. So he was awesome tonight. Next guy, seems like he's awesome every night. Domantas Sabonis. He missed some good looks early. You know, Bam and Miami throwing everything at him. He still managed to play his ass off like usual. Sabonis, 19 points, 17 rebounds, 13 assists, 7 of 14 shooting. He knocked down his only 3 of the game. It's his 29th consecutive double-double. He has 42 on the season. His 13th triple-double of the season. He had 14 all of last year. The guy is playing some incredible basketball right now. And he had to deal with Bam, too, which is not an easy task whatsoever, right? So I thought Sabonis was really strong tonight. What I appreciate about him, he just plays hard. He was, I mean, the Kings, the game looked out of reach with like a minute and a half to go. That guy was getting a rebound and pushing like it was a 2-point game.
And that is someone that I feel like all season long, every single night you can rely on for that. There was a few games in the beginning of the season where we're like, is he not going to push through some of these bigger guys in the league? Everyone's like, this is why you need a different big. Oh my God, what are we doing? And now you're seeing him drop triple doubles like it's nothing. It's part of his job now. And if he doesn't have a triple double, we're all like, was it his best night? Could he have done more? Which is bizarre. Just crazy to even think about him as a playmaker, him being able to go through bigs like Bam and or find a way to score with his footwork on them. His level of intensity all the way through the fourth quarter, every single game, is what this team, I hope this whole team can like rally behind and find a way to find their inner Sabonis.
It's the effort. It's the force all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Even going back to something Spoelstra said after the game, I feel like we're doing a lot of heat culture stuff tonight.
Heat culture.
Heat culture. But he was saying, like, sometimes we don't, it doesn't matter the result. It's about the process. It's like if you put on a Heat jersey, there's certain expectations, effort, accountability. Like, we're going to play hard.
Yes.
You're going to feel us. And he goes, you know, during that last stretch, we weren't ourselves at all. My point to that is every time Sabonis puts on that jersey, that guy plays one way. He was actually asked about that, Morgan. God, I should dig this up.
Where was he asked it?
He was asked after last game. And it was just such a great answer. Kyle Draper asked him just about how he always plays hard, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to just find it. And who cares if it's not the smoothest thing?
I never care.
I'm like the one that cares on that. But Draper had asked him about where he gets that mindset to like always play hard. And his answer, loved it. Here's what he had to say.
When I watch you, I look at how hard you play, the effort, no matter it's game 1, game 40, no matter who's on the floor. Where does that come from?
I mean,
Competitiveness or dad?
no, it's the passion for the game. We love this game. You love your job, right?
Love my job.
Exactly, you know. So we get to play this every night. So I'm just excited to go out there and have this opportunity. You know, it's going to end one day, and I'm going to be watching and be like, damn, I wish I was out there.
It could almost bring me to tears.
Love that man. Love that man. Yeah, people want to point out, and not so much in Sacramento, you know, outside here, want to point out like, oh, he doesn't do that. He can't do that, blah, blah, blah. This guy is so skilled. He's not the tallest big guy out there. He's not the longest big guy out there. But that dude has a passion to like just play basketball the right way. He wants to share with his teammates, sometimes to a fault. He wants to play hard all the time. He's going to bust his ass defensively no matter what. He's going to fight for rebounds no matter if he's getting clawed in the face, hit in the face, punched in the back, stomped on the chest. That guy just plays through it. And that mindset is the mindset that I want everybody to have. Like you were saying, just have that mindset, because you're right. If you're not aiming to be great at this, what are you doing it for? Right.
Well, and that's the thing. Passion, passion can drive people to the limits. Mm-hmm. Love that. Appreciate that. Love being around people that are that passionate about their jobs or whatever that they do in life. Just absolutely connect. Love it. Now, you say that about other people, and there are some people who are in this league just to make money and it's like, and when we say that, we can't act like that's not what you should do. Everybody's different. And I wish everybody was as passionate about the game of basketball as Domas Sabonis. I mean, we talk to former players and you hear how some don't even watch the game anymore because they just never connected to it like that. They always felt like it was work or whatever. And then there's others that were even in their playing days were like not watching film because they just understood it at a different level and they like to study at a different level. And I get all the different ways. I don't connect to those different ways. I think because like we've talked about before, like basketball is in our blood. Like we are passionate about basketball, but those are the type of players that you search for, where it's in their blood. And that's why sometimes like, even when you get to trade deadlines and free agency and all these things, when you go, why don't you want that guy? Or why don't you want that guy? Because sometimes you truly need those type of guys in your system. And especially guys that are coachable and that you can bring something different out of. And the way that Sabonis has taken his game to the next level and has that passion, it's like you don't ever let go.
Yeah, I liked how he played this game tonight. And he was a big reason why the Kings made runs tonight to, get back into the game and make it a game. Even in the fourth quarter, they made a run to make it a game. Unfortunately, mistakes, defensive breakdowns, and then missed shots just killed them in a lot of ways. De'Aaron Fox had a rough night. We talked about that. He was 4-16, 1 of 8 from 3. But we should note this, that one three-pointer he made was a big one. Last year, he made 119 threes in 73 games played last season, right? Last year. 119 and 73. He hit his 120th three this year in his 40th game of this season.
Pretty cool. And I mean, look at shooting 39% from 3-point land.
Dipped a little bit tonight after going 1 of 8.
But shooting efficiently for over the year, right? For over the season at least. I know like the last couple of games wherever he's not shooting that as good as he was from 3-point land, some people are like, why is he still doing that? Why is he still doing it? It's for that exact reason, because it has been his most efficient year, and he believes he's a shooter that can only keep getting better.
I mean, that's just, he put in the work over the offseason, and that number is a big deal.
It is.
To hit 120 in 40 games after your career mark before that was 119, and you did it
in 73 games.
I mean, that's impressive. And so it's good to see the areas of growth in his game. I think his defense has been a lot better on the whole this season. He's averaging career best in steals. He's top 3 in the league in deflections too. The engagement's been a lot better for him. Obviously, tonight, not his best night, 4-16, but hopefully he bounces back for the Kings, because can't really survive if he's doing that.
No, you can't.
Oh, one other good note.
What?
We mentioned that good number from De'Aaron Fox. Kevin Huerter love real fast.
Oh, my God. Give him lots of love.
Kevin Huerter last 8 games. It's coming back. The numbers are up big time. Fine. That's cool. You can tell me about the numbers. He is doing the other things out there. And I thought again tonight, he had some really strong defensive moments. He's battling out there. He's using his length. He's making sure he's getting deflections. He's making sure he's contesting shots. He had some good moments in that Dallas game too. I think he's one of the guys that feels like he's turned the corner a little bit after just a brutal start to the season. It's good to see him not only knocking down shots, but finding other ways to impact the game. The rebounding's been better. The defense has been better. The playmaking's been better. I'm glad to see him rolling a bit, because the Kings are a much different team when he is playing good overall basketball.
Talk about some mental shift there. And, you go, he's such a confidence guy, right? Like he needs to feel good out there so that his confidence is with him. If he's shooting well, then he's doing all the other things well. I think whatever fire was lit under his ass, or confidence that was taken away from him, I think something happened to him where he wanted it back. He wanted the minutes back. He wanted the confidence back. He didn't want to feel whatever the hell he was feeling. And he understood what that was going to take. And it wasn't going to take making his 3-pointers. It was going to take doing all the other things that we keep talking about. And you had like a breakdown in the pregame about all the other things that he has been doing. And you're exactly right. Him actually understanding how to utilize his length, understanding how he can be a good defender, not even like, hey, at least he's not a liability. No, he can be a good defender out there because of his body size, because he is a high IQ player. And it's like, do all the right things. And that's what he's starting to do, keeping his hands up on defense. That alone, you're taking away the vision. You're disrupting an offense. You're getting deflections. And then sometimes you're making it go the other way in transition. It's just, he's been doing those things, going in, fighting for rebounds. I love what Kevin Huerter has been adding lately.
Yeah. So those are some positives. Keegan Murray, Sabonis Sabonis, Kevin Huerter all played pretty solid tonight. Of course, Keegan was really good. Sabonis, awesome. De'Aaron did not play well, but hit that mark, 123s in 40 games. He's been shooting it efficiently. So those are some good things from tonight on a night where did not go well for the Kings, and they hung in there for a little bit, but ultimately lost 115 to 106. That brings us to, what the hell should our Sharif Jewelers moment of the game be for this one? One highlight that popped up, and I know it's a Miami play.
Okay.
That lob hero threw that. I'm like, no, Bam's not getting there. There's no way Bam's getting there. And Bam got there for the jam.
That was the
Disgusting.
one. Harrison Barnes got caught up on the screen, didn't navigate over it, and then Domas came up to help instead of drop, which was smart. Help wasn't there. Yes, you're exactly right. But you know what comes up in my head? Keegan, one of the blocks he had.
Okay.
And then the dunk that he had, baseline, too. Just, again, a really good offensive night from Keegan, and I thought he had some highlight offensive moments.
Yeah, and let's not take for granted that he was a 7 of 11 from 3.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I'm not feeling that cynical tonight and feeling like...
I'm not either. What? You're going to lose games in the league.
Right.
Okay? There was a stretch where they were getting their asses kicked and losing like at Portland or losing at home to the Hornets. You know, losing sucks, but, you know, it's like they had their chances. It's, you know, tonight... If the bench plays a little better, if Harrison Barnes doesn't get torched defensively in the third quarter, you know, if Fox knocks down a couple of shots, you have a chance to win that game. And that's why it's frustrating because like it's such a slim margin for error, right? And they just did not have enough players playing good basketball. When your bench gets outscored that bad in the game,
47-18.
When one of your best guys goes 4 of 16, I know the missed shots don't count as turnovers. That wouldn't make sense. But some of them feel like turnovers when they're bad ones, when they're quick shots. One of my pet peeves, the Kings aren't the only team to do this. Okay. The Warriors do it. Other teams do it.
Oh, I know.
I hate 2-for-1s in the NBA. Hey, it's a 2-for-1 situation. I swear every time it's a 2-for-1 situation, I'm not going to say every time. 85% of the time it's a 2-for-1 situation. The Kings take a bad shot and they miss it. And then it's like, well, what? So you rush to go take a bad shot? No, just get a good shot. What's the point in 2-for-1 if one of them's going to be a shit shot?
Yeah.
Kills me. Kills me.
I know.
And then I think that
here he goes.
Oh my God. How many times I saw a quick shot and then it led to a 3 on the other end? And you're like, what? These are backbreaking.
I saw that once tonight, but it could have
felt like
more.
7 times.
I'm with you in the sense of that thought process. Sometimes I think screws up. Rush, try and get the first shot because you want to get two.
Well, the clock's a factor. I guess you just got to get a shot.
Analytically, it makes sense. You got to get 2 more possessions in before the end of the court. It's like, just how about just get some points on the board and we'll be just fine. Thank you.
Pretty simple. God damn.
Come on now.
So frustrating.
Hey, it's okay, dude.
Yeah. Overall, though, this game, I mean, it doesn't bug me. You got to bounce back. And next up, Friday is that's going to bug me if you lose that one.
Oh,
Friday, the Kings take on the Indiana Pacers. Definitely some questions going into this game, right? Tyrese Halliburton returned against Boston, played 22 minutes in that game. He's still coming back from the injury. The Pacers play in New York the night before. So they're going to be on the second night of a back-to-back. Does Tyrese Halliburton play in both of those games? How many minutes does he play? I don't know. But the reality is last time they played the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton did not play.
No, he did not.
Pascal Siakam
He
did not play.
Or he did not play, I mean.
He wasn't even with the team yet. He just landed with in Indiana to go take his physical
That
and
was his
tour the
first day.
facility. Yeah. The Kings got cooked in that game. They missed a ton of free throws. TJ McConnell torched Sacramento. I cannot watch that again. They came in and beat you in your house shorthanded.
TJ came in and beat.
TJ, it seemed like everybody did.
I know. But TJ just stood out.
Matherin was awesome.
All of them were all. TJ only had he didn't even have like a 20-point game or anything. Like it was. I'm just telling you what it felt like watching TJ McConnell.
TJ has had too much success against Sacramento, and it's no disrespect to him. Like good role player. He shouldn't be torching you and having a double-double. Okay, that just can't happen. So, number one, I need to see the compete better. But the reality is it's going to be a tougher game. Pascal Siakam looks pretty good with them. And he seems like he's rejuvenated a little bit in a new situation. He feels loved. He's getting the touches. He's playing some good defense. And I've watched a lot of Pacers games this year. I'm so impressed with the effort. They may not have all the best defensive players, but they do remind me a lot of the Kings from last year, where it just seems like the effort's always there. Nesmith, he does some weird things out there sometimes, but you know what? He plays
Gritty.
hard.
Yep.
You're right. He's gritty. He's going to foul someone hard. He may have a bad foul every once in a while, but he plays hard. Turner does nice things.
Yep.
Benedict Matherin, I liked him before he was in the league. The guy plays like a dog, and he's showing growth. We know what Tyrese can do. They're a tough team, but you can score on this team.
Yes.
Play with pace, push the pace, and I hope Halliburton plays. I want Halliburton to play. The last time we saw Fox and Halliburton play in the same game, Fox and Mitchell put the clamps on Halliburton in Sacramento. I want to see how they handle the challenge now that Tyrese Halliburton's evolved his game even more. He's now an all-star starter. What's that going to look like? I'm excited for the game. It's going to be a good challenge.
Vang says, you worry about Hallie? I'm worried about TJ McConnell.
Dude,
and then
yeah.
Lizzie says, TJ is all heart. Yeah, he plays with a lot of heart. And then I saw also someone talking about when they were blitzing TJ and also, running him off the line when he can't shoot the effing ball or doesn't shoot the effing ball in the first place. So hopefully all those little things that they did wrong last time, they make those simple tweaks, and don't let that happen again.
They are a team that feels like they're never out of it. They battle all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think TJ McConnell's played the last couple of games, so who knows who's going to be. I don't even pay attention to that stuff anymore. Who's in, who's out, doesn't matter. You got to have the focus and go in there and play your game. And I hope the Kings can get it going offensively, and there's got to be a little pride factor too after what happened. One, Sabonis is playing in Indiana. I'm sure he is going to get up for that type of game every time they go head to head. But it's really going to be a good test to see what type of response they put out there.
Yeah. Friday. And then obviously next night, go to Chicago and they play. I mean, I know we're not there yet, but my point is it's like, okay, what are they going to look like to not even end this road trip?
No, they play again Monday, dude. There's still a lot of time left on this road trip. So let's get a super chat shout out. Keegan Murray watch. He's all over the place tonight. Donate $20. Thank you. Best part of Kings games is Deuce and Mo night chat. Thanks for being part of the experience. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
No, we appreciate everyone who supports us after every game, win or lose.
Seriously.
It's great.
And especially after some of these, like when we have to come on a little bit later too. I mean, obviously it's not even that late because it was an early game, but no, we appreciate everyone watching live and everyone that watches later. Thank you.
Let's get to some final thoughts, Morgan.
Oh, final thoughts. I had one too. I had one and it left. Probably because
You're tired. You're tired. I get it.
no. Well, I did. It's funny. I have a stuffy nose, so I took a NyQuil, but I don't feel drowsy. But every time I look at something, I get like my eyes are like.
It's probably hitting
"Ooh."
you. It's probably hitting you.
Ooh.
My final thoughts. I'm excited for the trade deadline to get here, and not even like, oh, I hope all these trades happen. I always get excited for that. We're going to do a big NBA trade deadline show. I'm just ready to move on from it. And so if I'm ready to move on from it, I can only imagine like the players in this league feel it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt you feel it because you're on edge with social media. More people are putting out rumors than ever. And it's like, what the hell does this even mean? What's real? What's not? It's so much to follow nowadays. And I don't know. I'm just ready to be like, okay, this is the team. Let's go. What's the solution? This is what it's going to look like. And I think we've all been talking about the trade deadline for so long, especially this month where the Kings were 8-7, that I'm reached trade deadline fatigue, and it's like, just get me to the day. Let's just get there and see what's in store.
But if you get, yeah, I guess. Because sometimes, too, I just think there's going to be a lot of, when I say a lot of disappointment on trade deadline, there's a lot of buyers in the NBA right now going into trade deadline. And everyone's looking to buy, right? They want to get better. They feel like their team is the team that could take the leap this year. They want to get better. What's that going to mean? What type of pieces are even going to be out there? And on top of all that, you don't just make a move to make a move. I know people hate hearing that, especially after just like a small tweak last year. But like I said, Bobby Marks was talking about how aggressive Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox have been throughout their time with Sacramento, making 17 different trades, I believe was that number. Last year, not a lot of activity. We want to see more activity this year, especially because what we believe this team can do, and you want to make sure you're taking the right leaps. But at the same time, don't just do something. Get me to February 8th.
And one last thing, a couple of people asking this. Any predictions for All-Stars? Do you think Fox and Sabonis get in? Fox or Sabonis? Which one do you think gets in, or do neither one get in?
I obviously think it should be both. I think Sabonis will be in for sure. I think Fox, I can't imagine Fox not being recognized and not being in, but the Western Conference is just stacked.
It is stacked. And last year, Sabonis got in, but Fox did not get in. He was an injury replacement. That's when he was named an All-Star. I can give you who I think should, if I were in charge. If it was like, Deuce Mason, you have to pick the reserves. It's up to you in the West. I'm going with Fox,
Okay.
Curry,
Okay.
Sabonis, Paul George,
Oh.
Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Edwards, and Devin Booker. No Ant, no Jamal Murray. I'm sorry, no Ant, no AD, no AD.
After he ends with Anthony. Or,
No AD, no Jamal Murray, no Gobert, no Cat, no Zion, no BI. My case for Fox and Sabonis is pretty simple. One, I'm a little bit of a homer. We all know that. Two, legitimately, both those guys were All-Stars last year. They got better. And their team has the record that's right around the same as it was last year. They have taken jumps in their game. Sabonis, career best in rebounding. His 13 rebounds a game, 8 assists or something like that, 20 points. The efficiency is up. The three-point shooting's improved. Fox, same thing. Like, the scoring is up. The three-point shooting's improved. The defense is better. Those numbers are up. I think they're both All-Stars again. Now, if you're asking my prediction, what I think's going to happen, I think Sabonis gets in. I don't think Fox gets in. But I think Fox has a chance as an injury replacement if Anthony Davis can't go. My whole rationale on the Anthony Davis, the guy's had a hell of a year.
yes.
I just can't, for me, putting the Lakers can't get two players. You're a losing team. You don't get two. And there's some people who are like, I don't know if Steph should make it. Steph's making it. Steph is Steph. He's going to get the love from the coaches. He's still having a really good year, even though he went through a funk similar to Fox.
Yep. Exactly.
But I think Steph gets in. The Paul George Kawhi thing for me, the Clippers have played great basketball. If you look at their numbers, they are so efficient this year. They've stayed healthy, and that team is playing some really strong basketball right now. I mentioned Sabonis. Anthony Edwards. Well, Minnesota's one of the top teams in the league. He's been spectacular this year. And I think Devin Booker's been really, really good. He probably deserved to go last year if he didn't miss all those games. He's had some monster games. The Suns are playing better basketball. No Şengün either. That's tough. No Victor Wembanyama. Şengün and Wembanyama, their time's going to come. We don't need to force them into the game this year. Wembanyama's doing some great things. The Spurs have won like 10 games. I'm sorry. Şengün's borderline. That team's losing. He'll get his chance probably next year. That's where I'm going with Fox, Curry, Sabonis, George, Kawhi, Anthony Edwards, and Devin Booker.
I think fair breakdown.
Thank you.
Fair
Thank
names.
you. I just don't know that the coaches are going to be like, we're going to get 2 kings in.
That's it. That's it. And I could sit here and be like, I think that thought process is weird, but it's the same thing of Deuce saying, I don't believe 2 Lakers should get in, and in some of these coaches' minds, the Lakers and Kings could be close enough of like, hey, not good enough teams. When I say that, I mean like Jamal Murray should be in, or whatever that thought process is. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to talk about it tomorrow. So make sure you guys are tuning in because we will be going live a little bit right before that announcement.
Yeah, we're going to be reacting to all of it. So we'll see you tomorrow. We'll do it all again. For all you audio people, thanks so much. If you're watching us on YouTube, drop us comments below, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. All it does is help our channel grow. That's all it does. And kind of makes me feel good too. If you're listening to audio, you can go to Spotify or Apple Podcast Store and drop us a 5-star review. That helps the audio side continue to grow. We love you guys so much, but we got to go.
You all have a wonderful rest of your night. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo.